All right, I've got more weed.
And that's what I'm starting with. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
You're welcome.
We didn't even make it 10 seconds in, and I'm already on the floor.
Uncensored. Unfiltered.
Well, you guys know, this is the TAP. We don't give a fuck. I had to drive from Lexington to Heath Springs, which is like an hour and a half drive. So I'm tired. Sean's baked and also tired because he spent several hours the other day.
Here? What's happening?
The other day was screaming at the top of his lungs about how much AEW sucks.
Hey, I'm not baked. I'm just bringing home the Briscoe bacon.
Bacon! Anyway.
Bacon.
I don't like bacon, but anyway, so this is SCCG Palmetto Power, episode 11. I'm Josh Ageddon. No, this is episode 12. Fuck!
And now for something completely different.
Oh, Jesus. This is Palmetto Power, episode 12. I was staring at my notes, and it said episode 11 recap, but this is going to be an all-over-the-place podcast.
This is going to be an all-over-the-show place, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And Skylar is not joining us. He did Thanksgiving shopping. He's cooking somewhere. Yeah, have fun with that, Sky.
He's slaving over a live fire that may or may not be lit by Charmander.
Yes.
Because Skylar is Ash.
Yeah.
Ketchum.
Skylar's Ash Ketchum.
And I would say that I'm Brock and you're Misty.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm Misty. I'm mystified by how quickly you came up with that. Anyway, so
and Andy's Lieutenant Surge.
No, who's the guy? Who's
weak against her? To be fair,
who's the guy that has the blue hair? James. She's James. Trust me. If you got to know her, she's absolutely James. That's the blue-haired guy that's like Zarbon, right?
I don't know who that is. But yes.
Whatever. So, Palmetto Power, Pokemon Power, episode 12. This is the go-home show for the second SCCG pay-per-view event. This is Spartanburg, and again, kudos to Sean McCarty for the pay-per-view name.
You are welcome.
And also, this is also going along with the Court Martial podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. They did ACPW versus NWL a couple days ago. Go watch that episode. Legitimately one of the funniest shows we've ever done.
It's a wild roller coaster of a ride.
Whenever I'm on your show, it just devolves into madness.
Yeah, because I turn into a 6-year-old.
Yeah, because you're dealing with a 4-year-old.
Crappy 6-year-old jokes.
But yeah, and also ACPW, the most recent episode, was the go-home show for Sean's next big show, which I believe is Winter Warfare.
Winter Warfare, yes, sir.
Very solid go-home show. And then Skylar just blew everything
me out of the goddamn water.
Blew everyone out of the water with Wrestle Festival. Fantastic show.
3.
Dude, go watch the most recent episode of the Court Martial podcast. It is a blast from start to finish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
over Hogan Andre.
And again, we're doing the go home show for Palmetto Power. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as Skylar's show. But again, it's just set up for my next big show, not Paul White.
But it might be at least half as good as my show.
Yeah, it might be a quarter as good as Sean's show if we're lucky. So we are emanating, Sean, from the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut.
We are oozing out of the XL Center.
Yes, we are excelling at the XL Center.
We are seeping out of the walls.
Yes. Yeah, we're in a different state for this show. So we start episode 12 with the episode 11 recap. I'm barely holding it together. So episode 11 recap, the Cliff Notes to Spark Notes version. We basically confirmed that the main event of This is Spartanburg, which is going to be in Spartanburg, not Atlanta, Georgia, is going to be a triple threat ladder match for the SCCG World Heavyweight title. Anthony Corelli versus John Morrison versus Tommy Inn. That's how the main event of This is Spartanburg is going to be. Thoughts on that, Sean?
I do remember that happening.
So, and it was a 3-person beat the clock challenge, and Tommy End won the beat the clock challenge because he's an uber badass. He's knocked out so many people. The champion and John Morrison tried, but they could not beat Tommy End's time. and he was allowed into the triple threat. Well, he was allowed into the matchmaking in a triple threat, and John Cena was like, you know what, boom, ladder match, throwing ladders. But again, it's not going to be like WWE where there's like a million ladders. There's only going to be 2 ladders at ringside because, you know, it's going to be a wrestling match that just happens to have ladders nearby.
Because you haven't marketed yourselves as being a wrestling company / hardware store.
Yeah, we aren't the Home Depot. There's a lot of Home Depots around us.
Their kinds of ladders, like, look how well they break.
Yeah.
Would you like to buy some WWE ladders?
Yeah. So our wooden ladders with the aluminum spray paint. And also, Mercedes Martinez defeated Piper Niven to become the number 1 contender for the SCCG Women's Championship. So at the pay-per-view, one of the marquee matches is Meiko Satomura defending the SCCG Women's Championship against Mercedes Martinez.
Correct.
And that's going to be fun because they had a match in the Mae Young Classic that was absolutely fantastic. Go watch that. That's like the best match of the Classic.
That should be a barn burner.
And another huge thing that happened on the previous episode, it was Hook versus Darby Allin in a number 2 contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship. And because of Zack Sabre Jr.'s interference, Darby Allin won that match, and that leads to tonight, where one of the matches is Darby Allin versus Ilya Dragunov for the number 1 contendership. And that basically concludes it for the recap of episode 11. So, would you like to know the match card for the evening, Sean?
Tell me the match card for the evening, Josh. Again.
Tell me the match card for the evening! Anyway, so, match card. So we have, our first match is going to be Tegan Nox versus Caitlyn. Not really involved in any storylines or anything like that. It's the first 2 matches of the night are just going to be matches that just gets people on the show. Just a talent showcase. Because there are some people that I haven't really had do all that much. Giving them some spotlight.
And the beginning, excuse me, and the beginning of the show is really the place to do that. You know, a lot of my opening matches are just, you know, a couple of minutes long. You do your thing, you know. Here's your chance. Go get over in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
See what you can do.
The second match is going to be similar to that, but it's going to be the Cruiserweight division because we have Fabian Eichner versus Hiromu Takahashi.
Okay.
The third match of the undercard is going to be Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray. The match where every single word in the match is only 3 letters long.
Again.
And
this
also,
is not the first time you've done this.
It is not. And the fourth match and the last match of the undercard is going to be Darby Allin versus Ilya Dragunov for the SCCG Cruiserweight Championship number 1 contendership.
All right.
The mid-card, Sean's going to love this one, Kenny Omega versus Dolph Ziggler.
Wow. You know, if there's a one person that I could think could showcase Kenny Omega's ridiculousness and make it look good and believable and make Kenny Omega look good, it would be Dolph Ziggler, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like, Dolph, I feel, could just bump the crap out of a V-trigger and make it look like he got shot in the face with a double-barrel shotgun.
He is versatile enough to make Kenny Omega look like $1 million no matter what Kenny does to try to stop that perception from happening.
As long as Dolph Ziggler doesn't try to get one of Kenny Omega's friends fired, allegedly, I think we'll be good.
Yes.
Also, match 6 of the mid-card is going to be Meiko Satomura, the SCCG Women's Champion, teaming up with Layla Hirsch to take on the team of Raquel Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez. Interesting tag match. And the last match of the mid-card, match 7, is going to be Kazuchika Okada versus Tomohiro Ishii in basically a New Japan match.
New Japan.
And, of course, Okada is the number 1 contender for the SCCG Internet Championship, where he's going to be challenging Samoa Joe at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
And our main event is going to be We Weren't Entertained's... hang on. On my notes, I just put W.W.E. I didn't put any names. Okay. It's going to be the world champion Anthony Corelli, Primo and Epico, and Naito taking on the team of John Morrison, Tommy End, Cedric Alexander, and Ted DiBiase Jr. in an 8-man tag team match.
tag matches with multiple men, with multiple storylines converging, seems to be a good way to end a show. But that's,
not derivative of the most recent episode of ACPW at all. Cough, cough, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Look, all I'm saying as I dial a lawyer is that it's a good way to finish off a show. It's a practical.
Yeah, it's especially a go-home show.
Yes, especially a go-home show that you had a week to prepare for after we called out the fact you hadn't done one of these in a few months.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to be completely real, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. The honest answer is life, because I've had some things going on, a few parking tickets, some money that I'm having to pay, some hookers I probably shouldn't have been around. I'm just kidding. But seriously, listen, I've had a busy couple weeks, so apologies for not doing more of these, but I'm trying, okay?
It's been a while.
Been a while. So we start the show off with a match with Sean singing. We have Tegan Nox versus Caitlyn in a singles match. Who gets the win and how long does this match go? And all undercard matches are 15 minutes long. They have a 15-minute time limit.
So it's Caitlyn versus
Tegan Nox.
Tegan Nox, who is a woman.
Yes, she might knocks you out.
Caitlyn, just for that, in 64 seconds.
Bell rings. Misses the shiniest wizard. Spear. 1, 2, 3. No. So, we start off with a collar and elbow tie-up.
Hooray.
Just to make Sean happy. So, this match goes 6 minutes. Caitlyn hits a fireman's carry gutbuster, goes into the corner, sets up for the spear, but she gets caught in mid-spear with the shiniest wizard, the shining wizard. And Tegan wins via pinfall. 1, 2, 3, it's over.
Well, see, I knew it was going to go 6 minutes long. That's why I guessed that. But, it's a very... Tegan Nox is a female wrestler.
Yeah. And Caitlyn's the veteran. This is the veteran putting the younger talent over, just to get both of them on the card on the first match of the show. Starting the show off with an energetic 6 minute long match.
I can definitely fucks with that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now after that, we go to a commercial break. Then when we come back, it's backstage interview time, and we have our boy Josh Matthews, and he says, "Welcome, ladies." I'm so tired. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, joining me at this time."
My name is Tony Schiavone.
My name is Tony Schiavone, and I'm having another aneurysm.
Double CG.
If you don't understand that, go watch ACPW. The last episode, one of the running gags was Tony Schiavone had a stroke, and it was hilarious.
Poor Tony.
Poor Tony. In his defense, Walter did scare the shit out of him.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah. So, joining me at this time, we weren't entertained. The World Heavyweight Champion Anthony Corelli, Ron Killings, Tyrus, Primo, and Epico, and also we have Tetsuya Naito. And so all of them,
Tetsuya Naito.
he's just, they're just standing there, and he's like, "All right, so you guys are involved in the 8-man tag match tonight to build momentum going into your huge matches at This Is Spartanburg. So, what's going through your mind, Anthony Corelli, as the leader of We Were Entertained?" And Anthony Corelli takes the mic, and he's like, I'm so not in a good mood. I'm not going to lie. Because in a couple days, I'm going to be put in a very disadvantageous position in a triple threat ladder match for my world title. First off, really, John Cena? A ladder match? I thought this was a wrestling company, not a hardware store. Now I'm just straight up stealing your material, Sean. This is not what wrestling's about. And why is John Morrison getting another opportunity at me? I already beat him at Sumter Slam. Why is Tommy End getting an opportunity with me? He just got into this company. Whatever. I mean, I'll roll with the punches like I always do. My prediction, which is actually a spoiler, I'm walking out of This is Spartanburg, still your World Heavyweight Champion. As for tonight, again, as you said, we're building momentum. We are going to do what we always do here on this show, prove that we are the saviors of wrestling, and we're going to do that by being dominant, like always. We dominate. We swept the board at SummerSlam. All of us won our matches, and nothing is going to change. We're going to win tonight, and we're going to win at This is Spartanburg, and we're going to win the show after that, and after that. And basically, we are going to resurrect pro wrestling by defeating all the people that make a joke out of it, make a mockery out of it. And that's basically all there is to it. And Naito kind of saunters up, and Naito's like, I don't want to do a Naito promo because I don't want to sound like a Japanese guy trying to use English. So the gist of what he says is, because he has a 2 out of 3 falls match with Ted DiBiase Jr. at the pay-per-view, he basically says, after I beat Ted DiBiase Jr., I want the world title, and Naito walks off. And of course, we weren't entertained as super happy about that. And Josh is like, well, it's kind of uncomfortable back here all of a sudden. Back to ringside. And that's one of the downsides of the amount of people from New Japan that I brought in, because I can't really do promos for them, because, again,
Because that's a racism.
Yeah. I'm as white as yellow snow.
I mean, that didn't stop me from doing Santina Morella.
Well, that was fun. That was different because it was funny.
It'd be funny if you did it.
I'm not doing that because I just don't want any of that. Not gonna lie. But basically the gist of it is Anthony Corelli is super cocky as always, and he brings up We Weren't Entertained's track record, their impressive track record. But then Naito makes it clear that he's helping them tonight, but he also wants the world title. So, we have our heels conversing, and again, just, and now we move on to our...
Did you know that Ron Killings just released a hip-hops?
Oh, he did?
Yes. I don't think it was a whole album. I think it was just one track. But
So
it's on World Star Hip Hop, and I did not listen to it. But it happened.
We should... After the show, that's our homework for tonight. All right, for the first time here on the Totally Awesome podcast, people listening, all 3 of you, we're giving you homework. Go listen to go listen to Ron Killings' new song. All right, so anyway, we come back and it's match 2, Fabian Eichner versus Hiromu Takahashi. How long did this match go, and who wins?
Fabian Takahashi in 778 seconds.
I'm too tired to convert that to minutes. This match goes 8 minutes long, and again, collar and elbow tie-up. I'm treating you real nice tonight, Sean.
I appreciate it.
So it's more technical. They do a little bit of high flying stuff, but I don't want to just beat that dead horse into the ground. But at the end of the match, this is the finish. They're on the outside, and Fabian tries to go for an Asai moonsault, but Hiromu moves out of the way, and Fabian lands gut first on the barricade.
Oh no! Ow!
So Hiromu gets back in the ring, and the referee begins his 10 count. And Fabian struggling. The referee gets to 9. Fabian finally breaks the count, gets back in the ring, but he gets kicked right in his injured midsection. Hiromu hits him with his finishing move, the time bomb. 1, 2, 3, Hiromu Takahashi wins.
It was 13 minutes, like 12 and a half minutes, by the way.
Oh, you did the math real quick?
Well, my phone sure did. And so that was the guess. I'm really glad, though, I actually guessed 8 minutes and got that correct as well. The fact that I'm 2 for 2 on guessing how the timestamps now.
Dude, on the Wrestle Festival, it was crazy how you just kept getting matches correct and I kept getting them wrong.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
As you said, you Nostradaminated.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
But that
was pretty much something. But in any case, I mean, this is still a good match as far as the showcase is concerned. 8 minutes is a good amount of time. Takahashi winning is a thing.
Yeah, and I haven't had him win all that often, and he's a part of a faction that, honestly, that's another issue that I'm starting to run into. We were entertained. They're the big heel stable, and they're doing a bunch of stuff. I still have Los Ingobernables de Japón, but they're just kind of there.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard, especially when you go to the mid-card and you try to keep a mid-card tag division. Trying to keep those people relevant is a really difficult thing to do, and I know that I encountered struggles with that in ACPW a few times. You know,
but
I feel like I've still done okay, but it's definitely a thing.
And that's part of why I gave Hiromu the win. So I can, like, he's a part of Los Ingobernables de Japón, and they won a match. They're capable of winning matches. So this is one small step in trying to keep them somewhat relevant.
Fair enough.
All right. So after that, we go to a commercial break, and we come back with our third matchup. No promo or anything, straight back into the action. Our third match, Mia Yim versus Kaylee Ray. All right, so we have a 15-minute time limit. How long does this go, and who wins?
I'm going to say Mia Yim in 494 seconds.
This is just going to be the gimmick of the show, other than you being baked and me being exhausted. All right, so so they have a 5-minute match because we just had a 6-minute match and 8-minute match. I don't want to just completely exhaust the crowd just yet. So this match only goes 5 minutes, and this is the finish. Kaylee Ray goes for the swanton. Mia Yim gets the knees up, and Mia Yim picks her up, hits the eat defeat, cover 1, 2, 3. Mia Yim with a clean victory. And also, this is the first time that Mia Yim has been back on the show since a couple episodes ago. She got the shit kicked out of her by Piper Niven, who had the broken pieces of the table.
Right.
When she was going freaking Godzilla mode.
Right.
So, and she has a bandage on her forehead as well. So this is her first match back, and she won. And Josh Matthews gets into the ring, and he goes to interview her in the ring. And that's another thing I don't feel like I've done enough. You don't want to have all of your interviews be backstage because that'll get old and annoying really quick, so you got to vary it up. That's one thing I do like about ACPW. You vary your interviews.
I try to. You know, Tony having an aneurysm, that ended up just being...
That was such a breath of fresh air, although I'm pretty sure all he could smell was burnt popcorn.
Yeah, it could be. Definitely could be. And I mean, even too, like, promoting JR to the position that he's in now is different. You know, and I needed that, you know, getting him into... That allowed me to have a new interview guy, having Kevin Kelly as an interviewer.
Yeah, you know, and my first several shows, the interview guy was Todd Grisham, but I've given JR to you. My main commentary is Tad and Todd Grisham. I've rotated them, and now Josh Matthews is taking care of all of the announcing and stuff like that.
Right, and hopefully this will be more of WWE 08-09 Josh Matthews instead of his entire TNA. The words are, I'm afraid of the words I'm speaking's voice, where, like, it sounds
that like, is so accurate. He sounds like he's trying not to wake up his parents.
He sounds like he's visually afraid of the words after they've left his mouth of, like, how, like, big the waves are.
What do you mean? You don't like it when he calls commentary like this?
Oh my god!
He sounds so bad.
So
and then he tried his best to do the Michael Cole heel shtick, and it was just... Imagine trying to be heel Michael Cole and not doing a good job at that.
Being a discount Michael Cole and then a discount heel Michael Cole.
That's Josh Matthews.
That pains me.
And he looks like a dweeb.
Because he is one.
The best thing he's ever done was when he interviewed Brock Lesnar, and Brock just kind of blew him off and was trying to intimidate him, and he starts walking away, and Josh is just like, I'm just trying to do my job. So Brock grabs him and just yeets him off screen. Keep your mouth shut, boy.
It's sad that that Michael Cole getting assaulted by Heidenreich is still a better promo than anything that Josh Matthews has done in his wrestling career.
Oh, God. Pro wrestling, everybody. That's fucking weird.
That's what happens.
But anyway, so all that said, Josh Matthews gets in the ring to interview Mia Yim, and he says,
"Ladies and gentlemen, Mia Yim, what are you?"
"Oh my God, she won a match." So he says, "Congratulations, Mia Yim, on your victory." I love how we just went into straight up bury Josh Matthews mode for like a solid 2 minutes.
He deserves it, though.
He deserves it.
Remember when he shat on Jim Ross for, like, no reason?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, everyone was like, where the hell did that come
from? You know how Michael Cole can be weenie-shire, but he can also turn it off and be a decent
I still
play-by-play?
respect Michael Cole. At the end of the day...
But Josh is like, he's weenie-shire, but he can't turn it off. That's just him.
Yeah.
So anyway, he goes to interview Mia Yim. And he's like, "Congratulations on your win, Mia. And also, good to have you back. You were unfortunately injured a couple episodes ago at the hands of Piper Niven." And Mia's like, "All right, stop you right there. Thank you for congratulating me. But let me have the microphone real quick, Josh." And so Josh he's like, all right. And Mia's like, "Piper Niven, words cannot describe how angry I am with what you tried. You almost, again, words fail me. You blindsided me."
Grab the microphone. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get across that she's super angry.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Words can't describe. Then why did you grab the microphone?
You assaulted me before my match a couple weeks ago. You bludgeoned me with the table, with a jagged edge of a table. Like, you could have nicked an artery. You could have done who knows what to me. And I'm the Malaysian baddie. Stuff like that does not fly with me. You think that you're some rampaging monster? You think everyone around here is walking on eggshells terrified of you? Well, I'm not. And you know what? I laughed. I wasn't here last week, but I laughed when you got rolled up and pinned in the number 1 contenders match. Mercedes Martinez deserves to face Meiko Satomura. You do not. But you know who I think you should face at This Is Spartanburg? Me! So how about it? I'm throwing down the gauntlet, Piper. Me and you at This Is Spartanburg. And the one that's going to be bleeding at the end of the night, it's not going to be me. It's going to be you. So she drops the mic. So Mia Yim has challenged Piper Niven to a match at This Is Spartanburg to get revenge for Piper Niven assaulting her a couple episodes ago.
"I'm going to beat your ass, Piper, and the winner's going to be me." Yeah.
I had to stop myself from doing that.
I heard you.
I had to stop myself because I was like, oh God, I love puns.
It's so cheesy. That's booable by Skylar Greenberg for sure.
Yeah, he's already hit the Skylar, you can only, if you want to hit the dislike button to this video multiple times, you have to create other accounts, Skylar.
Yeah,
anyway.
And then hack into the YouTube so you can actually see what dislikes there are.
Well, he's not you. He's not you, Sean.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway. So after the match, we actually cut to a hype vignette where it hypes up the 2 of the big title matches at This Is Spartanburg. It hypes up both Meiko Satomura versus Mercedes Martinez for the women's championship, and it's basically the idea is experienced veteran versus experienced veteran for the women's title, and it's showcasing like all their accolades in different wrestling companies. And it also hypes up Samoa Joe defending the internet title against Okada, where it's going to be like just a clashing of styles, a hard-hitting matchup, shows them being dominant, Okada winning a bunch of championships, Samoa Joe choking people out. It's a double hype package for both championship matches, which I feel like would be a solid, fun, like, oh, I would love to see both of those matches.
Yeah, it'd be a nice way to kind of make sure both of those are noticed and acknowledged going into the go-home show, so like, these things are happening. We're not going to do any major things about them on this show, but just remember that they're going to happen on the show that you should be paying tickets for.
Exactly. All right, so match 4, this is the last match of the undercard. Darby Allin versus Ilya Dragunov. The number 1 contendership for the SCCG Cruiserweight Championship is on the line. Winner faces Zack Sabre Jr. 15-minute time limit. Who you got winning, and how long does this match go? Who's facing Zack Sabre Jr.?
Well, Zack Sabre Jr. is the Cruiserweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Darby Allin is a wrestler. Ilya Dragunov is a better wrestler.
This is true.
I'm going to say Darby Allin in 525,600 seconds.
My brain keeps wanting to figure this out to know what the fuck you're saying.
That is 8,760 minutes.
I just can't anymore.
Which is a year.
Dude, that's a lot. That's a long match. That's almost as long as an AEW match. But anyway,
Maybe.
So this match goes 11 minutes, and it's the hard-hitting style of Ilya Dragunov and Darby Allin, utilizing high flying and putting 110% into it, which, not even gonna lie, I feel like Darby Allin would be the perfect guy for Ilya Dragunov to do a bunch of intense shit to. This would be an intense as fuck match. So, the finish of the match, Ilya Dragunov goes for the red torpedo, that flying headbutt that he does. But Darby Allin moves out of the way, and instead, Ilya accidentally red torpedoes the turnbuckle. So he bounces off the turnbuckle. Darby Allin uses the Last Supper cradle and gets the 1-2-3. So Darby Allin is your number one contender.
Look at that. I guessed it exactly. They wrestled for forever.
Yes.
And Darby Allin won it.
It was a highly competitive match, and Ilya actually was in control for a lot of it, but Darby Allin got control. He moved out of the way of the red torpedo. Ilya bounced his head off the top turnbuckle, and he got rolled up for the win. But it was a solid match. But however, while Darby is celebrating, Zack Sabre Jr. comes out, and he's just on the ramp, and he's holding up the Cruiserweight Championship, and he's basically saying, that high-flying shit ain't gonna work on me. I'm going to stretch you and stretch you until you tap out. And Darby is just pointing at him. Darby's cutting a much less intense promo because he just does not have the charisma needed for it. And he's doing the belt gesture. He's doing the belt gesture, and that's how we close the undercard. Because remember, the theme of Zack Sabre Jr. as champion right now, his thing is, the high flyers can't beat me because I will always catch them. Their high flyingness is their undoing because I'm a technician. And so far, that has been the case. That has worked for him. But will that be the same with Darby Allin, or will Darby Allin try a more mat-based approach?
Well, the difference is, too, Darby Allin lays in a lot of those dives, so maybe while Zack Sabre Jr. would normally capture people, when the entirety of Darby Allin's weight is charging at him, he may be more caught off guard than he suspects.
I wish that WWE and AEW would, do some kind of...
Hire us as commentators? Yes.
Yes.
To hype up the wrestlers? Yes.
I want to see Darby Allin versus Ilya Dragunov in real life. I feel like that would be a fun match. They're similar...
If Ilya could lead it in a way that would make both of them... If Ilya could lead it well, yes.
Yeah. And I feel like he could. I feel like he would. So anyway, that's the end of the undercard. So now... A little bit of an intermission. Some of the people in the crowd go to the concessions, go to the bathroom. We have some hype vignettes playing in the background, some music. We don't do any rock, paper, scissors nonsense because this is not an indie show.
I appreciate that.
Looking directly at you, AEW. All right, so just a brief little side note. On the next episode of the Court Martial podcast, Sean McCarty and A. Bizzle and Skylar Greenberg are going to be reviewing the Go Home AEW Dynamite for Full Gear. They did that rock, paper, scissors shit, and it was... Sean, I'm looking forward to your review of that show.
I'm looking forward to talking about it. All I'm going to say is that AEW Hardcore's left the arena because of that rock, paper, scissors bullshit. And I've got a lot more of bullshit around, and I cannot wait to share that stank with all of y'all.
Why did I like AEW? That's something I'm starting to ask myself.
Well, we all wanted to.
We all believed, and we were all disappointed. Our hearts were broken.
Unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
It was not elite enough. Speaking of which, first match of our mid-card, we have Kenny Omega versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, mid-card matches have a 20-minute time limit. Who wins this match? How long does it go?
I'm going to say that this is going to go to Dolph Ziggler because right now everybody hates Kenny. So that would be my decision there. And I'm going to say 1,806
Jesus
seconds.
Christ. Wow, how did you know? So, and also remember, one of the matches at This is Spartanburg is going to be Kenny Omega versus Bray Wyatt. And on the previous episode, Bray Wyatt was having a match, and Kenny Omega came out in a Brody Lee t-shirt to, get some massive heat. Which, I honestly, dude, that would get some heat.
That would get some heat.
Maybe a little tasteless, but, So anyway, the match goes 7 minutes and 10 seconds. And it's a solid back and forth, but Kenny Omega just blows Dolph Ziggler's head off with a V-trigger. Picks him up, one-winged angel, 1, 2, 3.
All right.
So Kenny Omega builds some he builds some momentum going into his match with Bray Wyatt. However, the crowd starts turning to the right, they're pointing. The Titantron is just static, and it just looks kind of weird. But then finally, Bray Wyatt pops on the screen, and it's Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt. He's in his Mr. Rogers attire, but he is not being happy and goofy. He looks forlorn. He's not happy, and he says, "Kenny, what you did last week with that shirt was unforgivable. How could you do that to me? All I ever wanted was to set you straight, Kenny Omega. But there you go, just dredging up the past, bringing up a dear friend of mine, just to get a reaction. How tasteless are you? There's no low that you won't sink to. But since we're talking about the past, and you doing unspeakable things just to get a reaction, let's remind the people of one of your stunts in the past. And let's just see how they react to it, Kenny." And then the lights start flickering and everything. The screen goes black. And Sean, just brace yourself. This is about to get super sports entertainment-y. And it's going to just massive WTF. So the lights come back on. And behind Kenny Omega in the corner is a blow-up doll with the fiend with a fiend mask on it.
Oh no!
It's a blow-up doll with a fiend mask on it. And the look on Kenny Omega's face is just like,
I remember you.
I remember, not the mask though. I'm not into clowns. And he's just like, and the crowd is just like, what would the crowd chant at that? You sick fuck.
I'm not sure.
The crowd starts chanting.
We want tables.
Yeah. We want blowjobs.
What they always chant.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
We want wood. Just a different kind of wood. So, Kenny Omega's just stunned in disbelief. But then the lights go out again. And then you start hearing "Let Me In" over and over and over the speakers. And the lights come back on, and where the blow-up doll was is standing the Fiend. And he runs over, and he puts the mandible claw on Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega passes out in the middle of the ring. And the Fiend is just laughing and laughing and laughing, and then it cuts to commercial.
See, I thought it would end up being the 9-year-old girl in the mask the next time.
No.
No, if we're doing Kenny Omega offenses, we'd have to touch on both.
The thing is, I mentioned that last week.
True.
So I wanted to do the other big no-no this week.
Yes.
Your thoughts, Sean?
Well, this is This is Bray Wyatt and Kenny Omega. This is what I'd expect.
Your favorite feud of all time.
It could use more crane kicks.
And Eric Bischoff and Corey Graves and his karate kick conga line.
That's right. It could use a lot more crane kicks, but other than that...
And everyone watching, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, you should be ashamed of yourself, because that tells us that you have not been listening to the Court Martial Podcast.
That's right.
And if you don't subscribe to the Court Martial Podcast, then a blow-up doll with a fiend mask is going to magically appear at your house. Just ignore the tag that says sent to you by Joshua Campbell. Just ignore that little tag. So anyway, back to the show. I can't wait to hear Skylar's response to that whole segment.
Skylar's the one who probably ordered first. So, there you go.
I'm his secret Santa, even though he's Jewish. Anyway.
That's exactly why you send him presents.
Yes.
Don't want him to feel left out.
Yeah.
Even though he technically gets more presents than we do, unless you're rich.
Yeah.
In which case, fuck yourself. I mean, thanks for commenting and subscribing.
Yeah. Do it some more. Instead of using your multiple accounts to dislike this video multiple times, subscribe multiple times. So anyway, after that uncomfortableness, we go backstage with Josh Matthews once again, but this time he interviewed one half of the main event earlier tonight, and right now he's interviewing the other half. And he says, joining me at this time, John Morrison, Ted DiBiase Jr., one half of the tag team champions Cedric Alexander, and Tommy End. Now, we heard from We Weren't Entertained and Tetsuya Naito earlier tonight, and they, of course, made their declarations that they're going to defeat you handily tonight, and then go on to win at the pay-per-view. John Morrison, what is your response to that? And John's like, well, aligning Los Ingobernables de Japón and We Weren't Entertained is a terrifying prospect. All of them, there could be 80 people at ringside tonight, and it's just us four. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be going into no man's land. And just like I imagine that's how it's going to be in the ladder match with me, Tommy, and Anthony at the pay-per-view. It's going to be it's going to be no man's land. But I've faced worse odds. We've all faced worse odds, and we are going to overcome. And Cedric butts in. He's the champion. And remember, on a couple episodes ago, after they'd successfully defended their tag team titles against Los Ingobernables de Japón, Tyrus and the rest of We Were Entertained injured Shelton Benjamin, and Shelton Benjamin has been on the shelf ever since he got injured. And Cedric says, we might have been able to fix our being outmanned problem if my partner Shelton Benjamin was not injured and was, here. But and Josh Matthews pulls the microphones back and he says, "Oh yeah, is there any update or anything that you know about Shelton Benjamin? Is he even going to be at This Is Spartanburg? Because if he's not, you might have to forfeit your title match." And Cedric is just like, I really hope that it doesn't come to that, because we are the first SCCG Tag Team Champions, and it would just be the lamest thing ever if the first people to lose the tag team titles lose it via forfeit because one of them's hurt. And I do hope that we do get back at We Weren't Entertained, because what they did to Shelton was not right. And Josh says, and Ted DiBiase Jr., you're going to be facing Tetsuya Naito in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And he's been a thorn in your side ever since the beginning of Palmetto Power. What is your plan tonight and at This Is Spartanburg? And Ted's like, well, first off, Naito's already making plans after the show. He's already making plans to go after the world title. Tetsuya, you are not going to be able to ignore me. Seriously, you're a thorn in my side for all these months, and then you're just like, oh, I'm just going to go after the world title. Not even mention me? You are really asking for an ass whooping at this show. And I'm going to beat you tonight and 2 more times in our 2 out of 3 falls match, and then I never want to see your stupid face ever again. I'm going after the world title, not you. And Josh Matthews says, and now Tommy End. We've heard from your 3 teammates. What do you have to say concerning all this? And Tommy just kind of stands there and he's pondering, and he just walks straight up to John Morrison and he says, John, I hope you're not too upset with me over what I did a couple weeks ago. And John Morrison's like, yeah, you kind of fed me to the wolves and knocked me out and just allowed me to get assaulted by We Were Entertained. And Tommy's like, yeah, I did that, but it wasn't personal. It was just business. It was a business decision. I would rather you get hurt than me get hurt. I'm a bigger asset. I have more potential. I'm younger than you. So, it was just a business decision, nothing personal. Tonight, it is in our best interest to not come to blows, to work together, so we can win tonight. And I give you my word. I give you my word. You will not face infinite darkness for as long as our match tonight goes on. What?
Nothing. Continue.
So he said he's promising not to kick him. And yes. John Morrison's like, well, what about after the match? What about after the match? What about during our pay-per-view match? I don't believe you. Why should I trust you after you stabbed me in the back? And Tommy's like, that's a good point. You'll just have to trust me tonight. But just know that at the pay-per-view, you will face infinite darkness, perhaps not my kick, but another kind of infinite darkness, where another name of it is a coma. And then Tommy End just walks off. So basically, I give them all a chance to talk. I keep the tension alive between John Morrison and Tommy. And then Josh Matthews sends it back to ringside. So some of them are on the same page. They're worried about Shelton Benjamin not being able to compete at This Is Spartanburg, and the tension again between John Morrison and Tommy End is still there.
So the reason why I laughed is just like the idea of Tommy End just being like, this isn't personal. This is business. This is real. This is a real situation where it's just, I'm very calculated about what's best for me. And what was best for me mathematically was to kick your ass and betray you at that time. But mathematically, it's here this time. And then you will face infinite darkness at another time. And mathematically, we will calculate it both work together. And if I said, I've done it the favor, I will find you infinite darkness. Maybe not by kicking you, but you will find infinite darkness.
Yeah, that is kind of humorous.
It just cracked me up.
Yeah.
Like you saying infinite darkness, it was like so,
yeah,
I don't want to say out of place, but it was just funny. It was just comical in what was otherwise a very serious, like straight down pipeline.
So like, it's just like this very psychological, like very manipulated, planned out plan, and then I'm gonna hit you with my ultimate move. The flames of hell will consume you. But then...
It's like Shadow when he sees a Chaos Emerald versus any other time. Like, any other time, Shadow's just like normal. He's like, I'm just a cool guy. The Chaos Emerald is just like, ugh.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald? It's like he's just having a normal day, and he just goes to McDonald's, and he sees that the cashier lady's name is Maria, and he goes, Maria!
Triggered.
Yeah. Just does Chaos Blast, just destroys McDonald's.
Nani?
Yeah. So yeah, all right. So from that backstage promo, we go to match 6, our tag team match. The SCCG Women's Champion Maiko Satomura teaming up with Layla Hirsch to take on Raquel Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez. Now, of course, at the pay-per-view, it's Maiko versus Mercedes for the title. And we also have Layla Hirsch in a one-on-one match with Raquel Gonzalez, because Layla has been embarrassing Raquel over the past couple weeks.
Right.
So, how long does this tag team match go, and who wins?
I'm going to say it is 1,100
Chaos Emeralds.
11 seconds.
That's a lot of Chaos Emeralds.
Which is 18 and a half minutes.
18 and a half Chaos Emeralds.
And I'm going to say that it's Maiko Satomura.
Maiko Satomura! Oh, man. Just every time Maiko Satomura does something, just goes, oh, my!
She thinks she's cute. She knows she's sexy. She's got the looks. It drives them all wild.
Oh, my God!
She's got the moves.
She's just Japanese. Japanese.
She's just the bee's knees. Bee's knees.
This podcast. So anyway,
was I right? Is it Michael?
what? Oh my god. So the match goes 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And the match starts, Maiko and Mercedes are in the ring. So,
Can't
but
unhear it now.
yeah, I know. You've ruined her for me now. I have to take the belt off her now because you just... Anyway.
I love how that's what influences your booking.
Yeah.
Well, could you imagine? That's how Vince happened with Vince.
Oh, yeah.
That's, like, Vince looked at Mordecai, and somebody said Mordecai in the room with him. He's like, no, don't put him back on TV.
Change his name to Kevin Thorne.
Get rid of him.
Make him edgy and a vampire. People like Twilight. That's a thing that the youngins like, right?
Sci-Fi Network, pal.
So anyway, the match starts with Maiko and Mercedes in the ring. But before they can lock up, Mercedes tags in Raquel, because, Mercedes is being a little bit of a heel, even though she's not like a super heel. But because, Maiko, she's the women's champion, and I'm trying to push her as the uber babyface. So Raquel, who's like a full-on heel, they start off, and again, the match goes about 6 minutes, 30 seconds. And this is the finish. So Layla has been taking the heat. She got tagged in, and she's been taking the heat. However, Layla finally gets the hot tag to Maiko, and she runs wild, and Mercedes tries to, clothesline her, but she gets low-bridged, and Mercedes goes flying out of the ring. Raquel Gonzalez is the legal participant, and Maiko hits the scorpion kick, which she used for the first time. It was either the last episode or the episode before last, where that's her other finishing move besides the jumping Death Valley driver. She hits the scorpion kick on Raquel, cover, 1, 2, 3, and the champion gets the pin, and she and Layla Hirsch win, building momentum to the pay-per-view.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah, way to go, Mike.
Good job, Michael.
God.
Let's do it again.
This is going to be a new thing.
Facing Mercedes-Benz Tina.
Michael Sotomora versus Mercedes-Benz.
Tina's.
Just, God.
You're
so
welcome.
after this match, we go to backstage. It's not Josh Matthews. We have just Zack Sabre Jr., the Cruiserweight Champion, by himself, and he has a microphone. And he says, all right, so now I know my opponent for this is Spartanburg, and it's another one of these damn high flyers. Just, when are you going to learn? When are you going to learn? Although I will give you credit, Darby Allin. You used an actual wrestling move to defeat Ilya Dragunov. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Because, if I'm being honest, that's the only way that you're ever going to feasibly defeat me at This is Spartanburg. But, just from what I've seen from you, you can't keep your head on straight. You're too much of a hothead. I bet if I bring up your dead uncle a few more times, you're just going to launch your body through the sky, and I'm going to catch you, and I'm going to make you tap out. And if you don't tap out, your body parts are just going to start popping off like champagne corks. And also, for the record, the reason why I cost Hook the match, it's not because I'm afraid of him. Because I have heard the rumblings that I'm afraid of him because he's also a technician and not a high flyer. Those rumors are lies. That's all that you Americans can do is lie and distort the truth to fuel your own propaganda to make us foreigners look bad.
USA! USA! USA!
So,
USA,
the reason why I
USA.
cost him the match is because it is beneath me to face Taz Jr. It is beneath me. I don't need to fight the son of a famous bingo hall wrestler in order to prove myself. So I was just saving him the embarrassment, saving myself some embarrassment. And I just also, again, wanted to prove that high flyers, the stereotype of the cruiserweight division, they are what's killing it. Whereas us technicians, I'm going to breathe new life into this dying concept. The division's not dead, the concept is. But I, Zack Sabre Jr., the greatest technician alive, I'm going to revitalize it myself. See you at the pay-per-view, if you can even make it, Darby. So he walks off. And I do feel like that would be fun. And I don't want to... And honestly, this is I'm never going to be the one to do the foreign heel thing, but I will spritz it in there every once in a while when I feel it's appropriate.
You know, I do like to say that, like, of all the people you have on your show, you know, you gave me a compliment on ACPW, watch it, that I embrace the essence, or I can capture the essence of the person
Mm-hmm.
in my promos. I think the person you do that the best with is Zack Sabre Jr.
Because he's a very arrogant, just look down at you from his nose guy, but he's also good at what he does.
Well, and I like that as well, like the fact that he is that technical of a wrestler, and he uses that so much to his snootishness
Mm-hmm.
and towards wrestlers who may be a little more meat and potatoes than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really does make this division more meaningful, having somebody like Sabre Jr. on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like what you're doing with this and with the Cruiserweight division.
And honestly, one thing, I'm not to pat myself on the back too much, not only is he on top of the division, he's making a point. He's criticizing the division he's on top of, and so far, he's been proving himself correct, even though he's the heel.
Which is the mark of a good heel.
Exactly.
Is telling the truth, but having people hate the way you tell it to them.
Exactly. But I'm also seeping in the whole thing about Hook. That's clear bullshit. He does not exactly want to face Hook because he knows that, like, again, that's his whole thing is the Cruiserweights are a bunch of high flyers. I'm the only wrestler. I'm the only grappler here. But Hook is not a high flyer. He's a grappler.
That's right.
Which it makes sense that would make Zack Sabre Jr. a little nervous.
Which is why he went to knocking
Yeah,
Taz
taking cheap shots.
instead of Hook.
That's taking cheap shots. And also, Taz is on commentary. And Taz is not super crazy about those remarks.
I could imagine.
Wonder if that will come back into play during this. Anyway, not going to give away too much. So anyway, we're moving on to the last match of the mid-card. Match 7. We've got Kazuchika Okada, the #1 contender for the Internet Championship, versus Tomohiro Ishii. 20-minute time limit. Who wins the match? How long does it go?
It is going to go 6,900.40727 seconds.
You are correct.
Which is 115 minutes.
That's a lot. Who goes over?
They sure do.
Wow, I didn't know that Okada went by they, them pronouns. Anyway, so...
They all do.
I went there, ladies and gentlemen.
Zing!
So, this, like, as I mentioned prior, this is a hard-hitting contest. This is straight-up strong style. They beat the piss out of each other. This is the show stealer right here. Because we've had some technical matches. We've had some, regular pro wrestling matches. This is a straight-up New Japan-style match. But after, and again, it's 13 minutes long. At the end, Okada wins with the Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. And he's celebrating.
Told it.
He's cheering on the outside. But he gets a little too close to the barricade, and some arms reach in and grab him around the neck. It's Samoa Joe right from behind him over the barricade, and the camera didn't even see it. He's just there all of a sudden. So he's choking Okada, trying to pull him over the barricade, but Okada's trying to fight out of it, and they spill into the ringside area, and they're going at it, and Samoa Joe tries to hit him in the head with the belt, but Okada ducks under it. Joe drops the belt, and Okada shoves Samoa Joe into the steel steps. So Samoa Joe backs up a little bit. He takes the Triple H stare bump. We got to have one on every show. Okada picks up the Internet Championship belt. But before he can go to try to hit Joe with it, we have not a bunch of security guards, just a couple referees to come out. John Cena comes out. This is the only time we see John Cena on the show. He comes out, and they're again, not a lot of people. They're actually restraining them. And Joe's like, all right, fine. Just give me my belt back. And so John Cena's like, all right, Okada, hand me the belt. So Okada hands the belt to John Cena. John Cena goes over to hand the belt to Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe just rips it out of John Cena's hand. And he's like, this isn't over, Okada. I'm going to choke you out. I'm going to choke your ass out. And so they back up, and that's the end of that segment. So we have a little bit of physicality between these two, but neither one of them gets a clear advantage.
And again, you're trying to save all that altercation for the pay-per-view itself, which I think is worth doing.
Exactly. So, and then now that's the end of the mid-card, and we take another intermission, get the crowd to calm down a little bit, more concessions, more...
Or wake them up, depending on how excited Connecticut is, because Connecticut is known to be a shit draw, and to get bored quickly and lose interest, because if Connecticut, weirdly enough, and statistically, they've always been like that.
Yeah, didn't they have a show in Connecticut a couple weeks ago for Raw, and the crowd was just silent?
It wasn't great, and it's a difficult place to draw. Connecticut can't be bothered. There was a time when the New York Football Giants had to leave New York for a brief moment, and they moved into New Haven, Connecticut. And those 2 seasons that they played in New Haven, they had the worst drawing years of their entire franchise history, because Connecticut does not give a fuck. They lost their own hockey team. They had the Whalers because they do not give a fuck. They just do not draw.
And speaking of the Court Martial podcast, the AEW show was in Connecticut, correct? Bridgeport. And how full, just to the rafters, was the arena?
Like 52% full.
Sean sent the group chat that me, him, and Skylar have a video, and just from the thumbnail of the video, all I could see were empty chairs.
The hard camp side was completely empty.
Way to go, AEW.
Completely empty.
I don't even blame Connecticut for that one.
Yeah, but it didn't help.
And the attendance kept dropping. The attendance kept dropping throughout the show.
Correct.
Sad.
What are you going to do?
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on a banger main event. So it is time for our main event. We weren't entertained. And Tetsuya Naito versus Morrison, Tommy End, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Cedric Alexander in an 8-man tag team match. We have a 30-minute time limit. This is our main event. Who wins? Which team wins? And how long does this match go?
I'm going to say this match is going to be chaos. Going to get thrown out. And then we'll have the heels probably start to get the advantage, but the baby faces will be the ones to stand tall as the heels retreat and say, "You just a wait, but it's a Sunday," and then they leave and the show goes off the air.
Okay, so this is how it ends. Cedric Alexander and Primo are legal. So now, again, the pay-per-view title match is supposed to be Cedric and Shelton, the Gold Business, defending against Primo and Epico for the tag team titles.
Right.
So the 2 legal men, and this match goes 10 minutes. So Cedric and Primo are the legal men. And Cedric actually hits the lumbar check on Primo. However, when he goes for the cover, Tyrus and Ron Killings interfere because they're outside at ringside. They interfere. They're causing a ruckus. The referee is distracted. He's not making the count. And that causes everyone to just get in the ring, and they start fighting. They're brawling around ringside. And the referee is getting out of the ring to try to throw out Tyrus and Ron Killings. He's telling them to leave. And while that's happening, Primo and Epico, they're in the ring, and they try to do the double backstabber on Cedric. But from out of the crowd, Shelton Benjamin jumps over the barricade and into the ring. Crowd's going, well, Connecticut goes as crazy as Connecticut can go. So,
they look like Shelton when Shelton did that promo where he didn't say anything.
Yeah. So
Shelton just looked around.
Shelton Benjamin jumps into the ring, and he hits Epico with pay dirt before he can do the double backstabber. Primo's like, oh my god, he's in the ring. The referee is still trying to throw out Tyrus and Ron, so he doesn't see this happening. So Primo eats the paycheck, which is the flapjack into the pay dirt, their double team finishing move. So they hit him with the paycheck. Shelton rolls out of the ring. The referee gets back in the ring, cover, and Cedric Alexander pins Primo. So the baby faces stand tall. The heels are pissed, and they're backing away in defeat. And Anthony Corelli is just yelling. He's like, just wait till the pay-per-view. Just wait for the pay-per-view. Exactly as you said. So you, again, Nostradamus over here.
Yes.
And he's like wagging his finger. He's like, I'm the world champion and I still will be the world champion. And they're like backing away in defeat, licking their wounds. And the babyfaces are celebrating in the ring. But when John Morrison turns around, Tommy End goes for Infinite Darkness. But John Morrison catches it. He catches his foot. And Tommy End is like, oh shit. Oh shit. So John Morrison like backs him up to the rope, still holding his foot. And he like flips his foot up, which makes Tommy End like do a backflip over the ropes. But Tommy End lands on his feet on the outside. He's outside the ring, and he backs up and he realizes he does not have the advantage right now, so he cuts his losses, and Tommy End also retreats. So John Morrison is wise to the act now, because another stereotype that I hate is baby faces are stupid and you can always take advantage of them. Tommy End already took advantage over John Morrison. This time, John Morrison saw it coming and acted accordingly. So we end the show with John Morrison, Ted DiBiase Jr., Cedric and Shelton celebrating in the ring, and the babyfaces stand tall for the last episode before This Is Spartanburg.
What will that mean for when it all takes place the next time? Well, I mean, I like how this is set up as far as this is concerned. I like, again, the whole baby faces are stupid stereotype and trope. You know, that's kind of why I did what I did with Damian Priest and Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I basically had Damian go, okay, if you think I'm going to believe that Brock Lesnar isn't here, going to jump me from behind and try to F5 me, y'all stubborn, I thought you were playing.
Yeah.
And I think this kind of thing, like catching the leg, is very much the same kind of deal.
Yeah, because this would not have been the first time. This would be if he knocked him out with Infinite Darkness again. That would be like the third or fourth time.
Yeah, and it's like, come on,
John.
You got to catch the trick eventually.
But he didn't get that much of an advantage over Tommy. He didn't even hurt Tommy. He tried to when he flipped him out of the ring. But Tommy is, athletic. He's a threat, so he athletically lands on his feet. And he's smart enough to realize John Morrison's in the ring. John Morrison's in the ring with 3 potential allies. I'm outnumbered. I gotta go.
Time to go.
Yeah.
Time to get out of here.
So, as the babyfaces are celebrating, Taz and Todd Grisham go over the card of This Is Spartanburg. So this is the card for the second pay-per-view. Are you ready, Sean?
Let's hear it.
So we have a pre-show that has 3 matches. The first match of the pre-show is going to be Hook versus Ilya Dragunov.
That ought to be great.
That would be good. And I hate that I'm putting on the pre-show, but it's for a reason. It is for a reason.
Fair enough.
Also on the pre-show, Piper Niven versus Mia Yim.
Okay.
And the reason I'm putting this on the pre-show is partially because, Piper Niven's super pissed. Things have not been going her way. This is just going to be seen as another insult to her because she's not done with the title scene just yet. And to close out the pre-show, we have a tag team match, The Bar versus Gallus.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty solid pre-show.
I think it is as well.
So, the main show, the undercard for the main show. We're going to start the show off with Zack Sabre Jr. defending the Cruiserweight title against Darby Allin.
Good opener.
After that, we have Layla Hirsch versus Raquel Gonzalez.
That's a match.
Speaking of which, we have, to close out the undercard, Kenny Omega versus Bray Wyatt.
That is happening.
And now for the mid-card. We have the Gold Business, Shelton Benjamin, who is back, making a surprise return. Him and Cedric Alexander defending the tag team titles against Primo and Epico.
Should be good.
We have the SCCG Internet Championship match. Samoa Joe versus Kazuchika Okada.
God, I want to see that for real.
That would be so good.
So good.
We have Ted DiBiase Jr. versus Tetsuya Naito in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Well, I gotta say, with what I remember of Ted Jr. from back in the day, if he was wrestling the way that he used to, that'd be something to watch.
Again, he's not the most expressive human being alive, but he can work. He's a solid hand.
Yes.
And I feel like Tetsuya would be a good guy to like lead him to maybe not a great match, but a good match.
Yeah, for sure.
And to close out the mid-card, we have Maiko Satomura defending the Women's Championship against Mercedes Martinez.
Will Mercedes fall to the sweet chin music?
The sweet Asian music. And our main event, Anthony Corelli defending the SCCG World Heavyweight Championship against John Morrison and Tommy End in a 3-way ladder match.
And that is going to be quite interesting to see how that goes. And I like the fact that that is the only gimmick on the show.
Well, aside from 2 out of 3 falls, which is kind of a gimmick, but it still focuses around, actual wrestling.
Well, it is a gimmick, but it's not necessarily... It's not a gimmick that involves weapons or no disqualification. There's only one that's got like a rule-less
exactly.
stipulation.
And I do think that this is a better card than SummerSlam.
I think that it's got a pretty solid structure to it as far as like balance of lower matches, some insanity, a healthy amount of women's matches, title matches that mean something, and also other matches that mean something as well. This should be good. I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Me too. And plus, again, like I mentioned off air that since I've had like a month or so, 2 months or so to like come up with what I'm going to do next, I have had a few ideas, and there are going to be some directions that I'm going to be taking SCCG after the pay-per-view. Because again, for those of you that don't know, after the pay-per-view, Palmetto Power episode 13, that's where I'm doing the ad drops. Might see some returns, definitely going to see some new faces, and some people that I don't like are going to bite it.
That's right.
We're not looking at you at all, Xylee. Not at all. You are perfectly safe, perfectly fine.
And that will probably coincide with the season 4 draft of ACPW and NWL as well. So that should be quite interesting to see who's going to get what when.
Exactly.
But there's only one you're going to know, folks, and that's to like, share, and subscribe to TNW Gaming and the Core Martial Podcast.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for listening to me and Sean just be me and Sean.
Hooray!
I'm going to bed. Sean's going to go do something. Probably record some CIW stuff. Good luck with that.
I will have luck with it. It will be successful.
I'm going to find some hay and hit it. Good night, everybody.